Is what I did really that unbelievable? I discovered my husband of 10 years cheating on me with an old girlfriend from high school after lying to me for weeks saying he was going on a 2-day hike solo. I even pumped him up for it before he left, sending him inspirational songs and encouragement. When he didn't respond to my texts via GPS satellite, I went to the about location Google Maps was giving me, and it was a luxury hotel. I texted him letting him know I was there and knew what he was doing to no response. I was so angry, and it took all my strength to not ask the late-night lobby person which room my husband was in. I decided I didn't want to cause a scene late at night that would disrupt any guests or make a situation worse, but I was so angry. I went home and was out of my mind with anger for not just the act itself, but how he had lied to me for weeks and made it into something so much more ugly and hurtful. He still wasn't responding, so I made a fire outside our house and sat by it and drank a bottle of wine. At the end of it, still with no word from him, and thinking about him fucking another woman, I took one of his 5 pairs of skis, he loves skiing, and burned them, and popped a hole in the tyre of his beloved middle-age crisis convertible. He came home eventually and was going to keep the lie up until I asked him to be honest, which he eventually did, and we started a 3-day conversation about what to do about the situation and going to therapy, because there was a lot to unpack about how we got to that point where he felt he wanted to cheat and lie about it, instead of being honest about these feelings. We set up therapy and had our first session within 4 days, which went well. After the session, he noticed his skis were gone and started freaking out, worrying that someone had broken into our house and was going to call the police, and was roaming around the property and panicking out of fear for our safety, and was going to make a huge deal telling our landlord that someone had broken in, etc. I told him not to call the police and to calm down, and eventually told him I destroyed the skis out of anger. He asked if I had done anything else, and in the spirit of being completely honest for both him and myself, told him I tried to pop a hole in his tyre, which I thought was unsuccessful, until we went to use it the day before. He lost it, seemed more concerned that I had let him think someone stole them for an hour, and had zero understanding of why I might do something like that out of anger. I explained that I was so hurt and wanted to destroy something he loved when I discovered he was cheating. I apologized over and over for both doing it and allowing him to walk around upset for an hour while I tried to figure out how to tell him and not cause a scene or lie to the police about it. My question is, what I did really that unbelievable considering what and how I found him cheating? The skis are a material object, which I told him I was fine to pay for if that made things better. He is now making it all about what I did and saying it was an act of violence. Is it wrong of me to not feel remorse for burning the skis? It honestly made me feel better and seemed like a victimless crime. I knew we would have to talk about it, BC. Yeah? They were a giant set of neon orange skis that would not just go missing in the middle of the summer and very visibly stored in our living room with all the others. I feel remorse for botching how to tell him in the moment because of how angry he was getting about them being gone and possibly someone breaking in. But am I wrong to think that his reaction to what in my mind was a cathartic response to his completely awful and calculated actions of cheating on me and setting it up for weeks and had every intention of hiding it from me? Top comments. Now he's trying to reverse the situation, trying to make you feel bad about the skis. I would burn the clothes. Hell, I would have knocked down the hotel door and punching him. Anger like that, it makes us blind. He was lucky you didn't trash the car and other valuable things. Still, I'm the kind of woman that don't forgive and forget cheating. If he wanted to cheat, the relationship is super over. No one that cheats think about their partner, so my advice for you is to tell that stupid man to go fuck himself. Leave him, tell him to leave the house, and go live your life. Second comment. Why are you still with a person who preferred to get his rocks off rather than to reply to you or get back home ASAP when you let him know about his cheating? He is not worth it, love. but you are worth way more than this loser. Realize that. Third comment, no. What you did is very understandable. You were lashing out at his betrayal. Perfectly normal. He's using this to avoid the elephant in the room. Don't let him. Has he gotten any help for his betrayal to figure out his whys? If not, he needs to get into therapy ASAP. Therapy would also help you cope with this whole situation. Fourth comment. I don't believe that you should feel one iota of guilt. He was only frantic for 1 hour. You had to wait freaking days. There wasn't any lying on your part. Let him know that all he lost is a pair of skis and a tyre. He destroyed something far more valuable, like trust, honesty, integrity, respect. Tell him if he can replace those, you'll pay for the skis and the tyre. If not, let him know it will be a cold day in hell when you will replace them. Fifth comment, wow, and he's oblivious to how his actions are worse. Is he really that obtuse? Therapy might help, but it doesn't sound like he's remorseful. Think he's only willing to consider therapy because he was caught. Your response with the ski is actually rather mild. I would have stayed at the hotel, maybe located his car, drove it home, confronted both of them. Taken pictures something. Burning his skis wasn't a mature response, but understandable under the circumstances. His carrying on in shock just seems to show he has no sensitivity, no concept of the consequences of his action. Is he really that stupid? OP, please think long and hard about why you want to work on this relationship. He doesn't sound invested in your marriage, and he sounds totally self-absorbed. Second story wife cheated, what now? Just to say wife of over 15 years cheated with a co-worker, she didn't take a year working after she was a stay-at-home mum for over 7 years. Like usual, a cheater doesn't think of the consequences that come after how the decisions she made were going to affect her life, and not just that, for the life of her kids. This fucker would text her to sell the house, the usual lover crap you read about, this and that. The effects of all this cost her a job promotion within her company. Needless to say, he's a manager in same company. We currently live together because of the cost of living, kids' school schedule. I work nights, she works mornings. It's how everything worked at one point for all of us. Never did anything against the fucker because ultimately it would affect her. And if it affects her, it affects my kids, which affects me financially. How can I get back at this fucker? I know where he lives and obviously where he works. Top comments, are you divorcing her? Just staying together until she has enough money to leave? As for her AP, let HR know that'll create a shitstorm for him. Don't do anything foolish that could jeopardize your life/livelihood. Second comment, if she's still working at the same company, wait until after the divorce is finalized. Then report everything to HR. If she gets fired before the divorce is finalized, it could cost you even more in alimony. When you talk to your lawyer, ask about suing the AP and the company for alienation of affection. Third comment, besides reporting them to HR, not much you can do unless he's also married, then have her expose the relationship to his wife or GF if she wants to reconcile. Other than that, all you can do is burn the barn down and report them both, which would cost her job. Speak to a lawyer about postnuptial agreement and draw out terms if you plan to stay, possibly removing alimony or terms like that if she cheats again. Have her write out a full timeline of her cheating for proof. Also get an STD test. Keep that proof. These things tend to go sideways if you'll divorce and she'll say she's leaving you because you abused her. Fourth comment, if he is in a relationship, then tell his partner or put up a free car ad or stripper ad on Craigslist with his phone number, and it will drive him crazy trying to figure out WTF is going on, LOL. I'm trying to keep it light-hearted because I'm a military vet, and I hope you don't do what I probably would in this situation because it's not worth it. But Manon, please think on it. Besides, you should be just as mad at your wife, because if she would have came to you when he first tried, then you could have helped her, and she go to HR and expose the guy for sexual harassment. Best of luck to you, bro, and fuck both of them. Just do you. And you will find your happiness. Fifth comment, your wife is a cheater. This is not my fault. Say this to yourself 100 times, and every time you think it about it, it is 100% your wife's fault. Seek separation and divorce. Your near future is going to be extremely stressful. Protect your mental, emotional, and physical health. Your kids are going to need you. Your spouse has left the marriage. Ignore your spouse. My advice is consult a divorce lawyer. Gather that evidence. End the relationship ASAP. Get out of this situation as fast as possible. The longer you stay in, the more your mind will be torn apart. You or your spouse must move out. If you cannot, go grey rock. Expose your cheating spouse to friends and family. Find out who the AP is and expose them to, in your case to the company HR. Do not let your wife spin her story first. Read up on stages of grief. The faster you can get to acceptance, the better. The sixth step to recovering from infidelity is indifference. You want to get to indifference as fast as you can. These links will help you in your situation. I suggest reading Darvo, Gaslighting, and Trickle Truthing first, then from top down. These will give you defensive tools against what your STBXW is putting you through.